Rocket engines are among the most expensive and complex pieces of hardware in the entire space industry. Yet, Rocket Lab has built and deliberately detonated over 800 of them in space like fireworks over the past few years. Even crazier, they've just announced they will push past 1,000 engines total this year. That's insane. Even Blue Origin's BE-4 hasn't reached that number, production at that scale. No wonder the Department of Defense keeps handing Peter Beck's company bigger and bigger critical contracts. So, how on earth are they doing it? Has this pace actually surpassed SpaceX's Merlin? Let's find out. Over the next 5 years, the space industry is set to change at an incredible pace. Major players like SpaceX and Blue Origin are racing to build massive satellite constellations, not in the thousands, but in the hundreds of thousands, even millions. Space is turning into a giant platform for data and AI. And in that future, one thing feels almost certain. SpaceX will still be number one. No real debate there. But what about second place or third? Most people immediately think of names like Blue Origin, Boeing, or Lockheed Martin. But in doing so, they often overlook one company that's growing at a truly insane speed. A company that could break into the top 3 and even challenge some of the most deeply established giants in the industry. That company is Rocket Lab. So, why them first take a look at their latest post on X. They said more than 800 Rutherford engines have been launched to space, and this year we plan to exceed 1,000 total. 3D printing helped to make that scale possible. Sounds pretty normal, right? But behind those seemingly simple numbers is a massive leap forward, one they're very likely to achieve this year. Let's break it down. That figure of 800 Rutherford engines refers to the total number of engines that have actually flown on all Electron missions since 2017. Electron is a 2-stage rocket. The first stage uses 9 engines and the second stage uses 1. With more than 84 successful launches as of March 2026, that 800 number is actually rounded. The real figure is closer to 840 engines. And here's the key point. That number doesn't just represent engines they've built. It's also the number of engines they've already destroyed in space. Sounds a bit painful, right? We tend to think of rocket engines as expensive, complex machines that take years to build. And yet they're just throwing them away after every flight. In fact, Rocket Lab has successfully tested engine reuse twice. But for some reason they still haven't turned Electron into a fully reusable rocket. But this isn't a waste. It's a deliberate and highly strategic business decision. Now, imagine Rutherford like a high-quality budget smartphone. You don't buy it to last forever. You expect to replace it every 2 or 3 years, because the tech improves and the cost keeps dropping. That's exactly how Rocket Lab is treating their engines. As they mentioned, thanks to advanced 3D printing and a unique design that uses electric pumps powered by lithium-ion batteries instead of traditional gas-driven turbo pumps, each engine weighs just 35 kilograms. Yes, you heard that right. Just 35 kilos. That's lighter than the heaviest weights you'd find in a gym. Because it's so small and lightweight, each engine can be produced in under 24 hours, with an estimated cost of only $300,000 to $375,000 per unit. That's dramatically cheaper than legacy engines like the RS-25 from the Apollo era, which can cost over $130 million for a single engine. In other words, Rutherford is no longer a handcrafted masterpiece. It's closer to an industrial consumable. Now, let's go deeper into the 3D printing tech behind it. Rocket Lab uses electron beam melting, or EBM, a high-end metal 3D printing process that takes place inside a vacuum chamber. A powerful electron beam far more energetic than a typical laser scans across ultra-thin layers of titanium, or Inconel powder, just 50 to 100 micrometers thick. It melts and fuses each layer perfectly, building a dense solid metal structure that can withstand temperatures above 3,000 degrees Celsius and the extreme pressure inside a combustion chamber. Step by step, layer by layer, they print the engine. The combustion chamber, the injector, the electric pump, housing the main valves. Even load-bearing structures, all of it can be printed as a single integrated unit in less than 24 hours for the core components. Inside, you get ultra-fine spiral cooling channels that improve efficiency along with lightweight lattice structures that are both strong and material efficient. What used to be 20 or 30 separate parts can now be reduced to just 1 or 2 pieces. cutting component count by up to 95% compared to traditional engines. So, what's the result? In July 2019, Rocket Lab celebrated its 100th fully completed, flight-ready Rutherford engine. At that point, 70 had already flown on 7 successful Electron missions. Fast forward to today. In just 7 years, they've produced another 700 engines. That's an average of about 100 engines per year. But this year, they're aiming for 200. That's double the usual pace. And that changes everything. It means engine production is no longer the bottleneck. In the past, manufacturing was the biggest constraint for Electron. Now the Long Beach factory can produce engines fast enough to support 20 to 25 launches per year without running short. They even have enough capacity to build the larger Archimedes engines for Neutron in parallel inside the same facility. This is what a successful scale-up looks like. From handcrafted production, 100 engines over 6 years of development, to true mass production over 200 engines per year with a dedicated factory. It's the same kind of leap Tesla made when it scaled from a few thousand cars to hundreds of thousands per year by optimizing its production lines. And this is a clear signal of explosive growth. So, here's the big question. 5 years from now, where will Rocket Lab rank in the aerospace industry? Number 2, number 3. Let me know what you think in the comments, but no matter where they rank, one thing is clear. Rocket Lab has already outpaced a major competitor like Blue Origin when it comes to engine production speed. If Rocket Lab reaches around 200 engines this year, Blue Origin is only producing about 30 to 40. That's a massive gap. And this is despite Jeff Bezos pouring huge amounts of his own money into Blue Origin, especially into the BE-4, aiming to compete directly with SpaceX's Raptor. Yet in terms of production speed, they're still far behind Rocket Lab. But hold on. That comparison isn't entirely fair. Rutherford is a small engine designed for Electron, a light-lift rocket. Meanwhile, the BE-4 powers New Glenn, a heavy-lift vehicle. In terms of payload capability, New Glenn is roughly 150 times more powerful than Electron. The BE-4 produces around 640,000 pounds of thrust, putting it in the same class or slightly above SpaceX's Raptor 3. And there's a reason for that. The BE-4 uses an oxygen-rich stage combustion cycle, one of the most complex engine cycles ever developed. It requires extremely durable turbopumps, injectors, manufactured with micrometer-level precision, and hundreds of components that must withstand extreme pressure and temperature. Blue Origin does use 3D printing for certain parts like the oxidizer boost pump housing injectors and turbine sections. But that's only part of the process. Much of the engine still relies on CNC machining, casting welding, and extensive manual inspection. Put simply, if Rutherford is like a mass-produced Apple Watch, then the BE-4 is more like a high-end Swiss watch, intricate, expensive, and largely handcrafted. But in the space industry, being more expensive or more powerful doesn't necessarily mean much on its own. So the real question is this. Doesn't Rocket Lab's advanced 3D printing give them a clear edge over Blue Origin? And doesn't higher production speed usually mean higher launch demand? That's exactly why contractors, especially the US government, the DoD, Space Force, NASA, and commercial customers are increasingly leaning toward Rocket Lab instead of Blue Origin. The core reason comes down to cadence, reliability, and responsiveness. Electron has proven itself with a perfect run of 21 successful launches in 2025, a company record. And right now, they're not slowing down. On March 24th, they completed a wet dress rehearsal and are preparing to launch a dedicated mission for the European Space Agency on March 25th. And that ESA deal is no small contract. It's worth $816 million, covering the production of 18 satellites for the Tranche 3 tracking layer designed to detect hypersonic missiles. That pushes Rocket Lab's total contract value with the Space Development Agency to over $1.3 billion. Meanwhile, Blue Origin is still waiting for more contracts to come in. Yes, they have New Glenn, a powerful heavy-lift reusable rocket, and they've secured NASA payloads like Escapade, but they're still seen as lagging behind in the medium and small launch segments, especially in national security missions. They do have strength in lunar programs, Artemis-related work, and some large commercial deals. But they still lack the launch cadence needed for customers to trust them with urgent missions or large satellite constellations. And Rocket Lab knows it. Peter Beck has said it clearly. Government and commercial customers are pulling toward them because they need a reliable alternative to SpaceX. When it comes to SpaceX, the picture is already crystal clear. They're dominating the market with Falcon 9, powered by the Merlin 1D. And right now, the government truly needs a company like Rocket Lab, not just to ease SpaceX's growing monopoly, but across the entire industry, not only missions like Dragon flying to the ISS. So, can Rocket Lab actually pull that off? It's not easy. But if you look at engine production and launch cadence, it's honestly a 50-50 game. Even researcher and YouTuber Scott Manley once said, "On X." At the rate Rocket Lab is going, they may end up building more Rutherford engines than SpaceX have built Merlins. So, what does that really look like? To understand that, we have to go back a bit. Between 2013 and 2015, SpaceX made a historic leap. They pushed Merlin 1D production up to 4 to 5 engines per week, roughly 200 to 260 per year, with a long-term goal of reaching 400 to 500 annually to support a rapidly increasing Falcon 9 launch cadence. They achieved this through a simple but powerful approach: a gas generator cycle design, fewer parts, and a highly optimized production line in Hawthorne. Compared to traditional aerospace manufacturing, where a single engine could take months, this was a massive shift. As of March 2026, total Merlin production is estimated to have surpassed 1,000 to 1,300 engines, including both sea-level and vacuum variants. These engines have supported more than 570 successful Falcon launches, with many flying over 20 times. That's the power of reusability combined with sheer scale. Each Merlin 1D produces around 845 to 934 kilonewtons of thrust. 9 engines on the first stage generate over 7.6 meganewtons, enough to send more than 22 tons into low Earth orbit. But Rocket Lab is telling a very different story, and it's just as fascinating. With Rutherford, they're not chasing raw thrust or reusability from day one. Instead, they're focused on ultra-fast mass production driven by deep integration of 3D printing. So, what do you think about this story? And if you found it interesting, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm aiming for 150,000 subscribers, and your support really means a lot. Thank you.